If you want an exercise that's going to help you improve your walking, this video is for you. So we're going to go through a little test together to make sure that this exercise is actually going to be helpful for you. But of course, what might work for you right now might not be as effective for you in the future. So I'm going to go through a few different versions of the exercise that you can go through. And this gives you options on what you feel like doing on the day and what feels most safe for you at the time. As a quick introduction, my name is Brendan from Physiotherapy. My team and I work with people with disabilities to help them gain independence and do the things that they want to do. So now let's go through the test that I was talking about to make sure that this is an exercise for you. So the test that we're going to do is a single leg calf raise test. And on the screen, I'm just going to show some norms on what's considered normal for a specific age range. So just pick your age range. If you're a male, you're looking at the column on the left. And if you're a female, you're going to be looking at the column on the right side. An example is if you're a male aged between 50 to 59, if you can't do 23 repetitions of this in a row without stopping, then that means you failed the test. And that probably means that the bunch of exercises that I'm going to show next is going to be helpful for you. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to set up a little chair that you're going to be using for balance, and you're going to balance on one leg. We're going to go ahead and start doing our calf raises. You're going to lift your heel off the ground and we're going to count, see how many times we can do it before we're too sore or we can't go any further. Of course, you're going to stop the test if you feel any immediate pain or you feel like you can't go any further. So I'm just doing as many as I can right now. I've just lost count, but for you at home, when you do this test, definitely count along as you do this. If you reach a number of repetitions, that is the normal for your age range and your gender, then that means you've passed this test. If you've passed this test, that means that this might not be the best exercise for you to do if you're short on time and you only have time to do one exercise. So if you're not able to do enough of this exercise, it can mean a lot of different things. One of the reasons might be you've got weakness in the calf, or it could just mean you've got some injuries happening around your ankle, knee, or hip that's stopping you from doing this. And as a result, that's also the thing that might be stopping you from walking better. So if that's the case, the exercise that's actually going to be helpful for you is the actual calf raise. But the version that you're going to do is going to be one of these easier versions. Just before we get into which one you can do, I just want to quickly show what actually happens and why this is important while we're walking. So when we're walking, we put one leg in front of us and this back leg has to then push the rest of the body forward. What happens here is the foot lifts the heel up, and guess what? This is the same motion that we're doing when we're doing our single leg calf raises. Okay, so if you're not able to do a lot of calf raises, then that means when you're walking, you might actually be walking like this. You're lifting your knees up. And that's not very efficient for your energy. And that might also be one of the reasons why you might not be able to walk very far. One more thing is when we're not using our feet and our ankles when we walk, we're not able to use the springs of our body. And if we're not using the springs, that means we can't walk very fast. So by working on your calf raises, you can end up walking faster and for longer distances. So over these next few minutes, I'm going to go through the different levels of each exercise. We're going to do 10 repetitions of each. When you come across one specific version where you can do around 8 to 10 repetitions of that, and by the time you finish, you're thinking, that was really challenging, or I probably can't do another 2 or 3 of that, then that version is the version that's going to be right for you. If you want to play it safe, then you can actually pick the version just before that one that was too hard. I'm going to go through more examples of this later on, so just follow along for now. So this exercise is called the seated calf raise. What you're going to do, you're going to sit on the edge of your chair, then you're going to pull your feet back towards you. You're going to bring your feet in as much as you can, and when you notice your heel starting to lift off the ground, then that's where you're going to stop. So you want your heels to actually be touching the ground. So once you're here, you're then going to lift your heels up, then bring it back down. And we're going to do 10 repetitions of this. 3, 4, 5. So we're just going to go along with this pace. And then when you've done 10 of those, if it still feels okay, then we can move on to the next one. If that one was challenging, then this is the one exercise that can be most helpful for your walking. The next slightly harder version is a single leg version of that calf raise. But on top of that, we're going to put a bit of weight on that leg. So as an example, so I'm going to be working out this right leg. I'm going to put my hands, put it on top of it to act as a bit of a weight. I'm going to push down on my leg, and then I'm going to do my heel raise or my calf raise against my hand. So far I've done 5, 6, and if you start feeling it in the back of your leg, around the calf area over here, that means you're working the right area. And once I've done 10, I just check how I feel. If that was challenging enough, then you can pick this as your one exercise. But if not, we can then move on to the next one. So the next version is actually going to be a standing version. So we're just gonna have something in front of us, and then we're going to go through calf raises with both legs. So we're standing, having the stool in front of us for a bit of balance. Then we're going to lift both of our heels up and bring it all the way down. We're just going to keep doing repetitions of this. Try to do 10. Just go along with the same pace that I'm doing. Try not to rush it. Cool. So once you've done 10, if you're feeling okay and that was easy, then you can then do the next variation of this. But if that 10 seemed like it was challenging and you can't do another 2 or 3, then this is the level for you. So essentially we're trying to find something that's challenging enough for you, but not so hard that it's going to cause you harm, or not too easy that it doesn't actually do anything. This type of thing is usually best done with supervision of a physiotherapist, but if you don't have access to one right now, then this is a little something that can help you out, hopefully. We can do something called the split stance. We're going to have one foot in front of the other, and we're just going to do calf raises just on one leg, okay? And then we've got the front leg and the hand here to support us. If you can do 10 of that, then you can try this other version. Another version is you're going to do double leg calf raises still, but you're going to put most of your weight on one leg. So you're actually going to shift your weight over and then do your calf raises like this, okay? So for me, most of my weight is on this right side, and I'm just doing my calf raises. My left foot here is there for support. When you do these exercises, you might also feel it in the back of your hip or somewhere in your back. That just means that those areas are also working. If it's just a bit of discomfort or you feel like your muscles are working, then that's okay. So if you're able to do 10 of those, then you can move on to the next version of the exercise. We've been doing these calf raises for a while. We've done the test and a whole bunch of other versions of it. I'm starting to get tired. So if you need to have a rest before you do the next thing, you can pause the video and just make sure you come back to do these next few ones. So this version of the exercise is called the 2 up, 1 down. And that's because we're going to go up with 2 feet, then we're going to lift one leg up, then we're going to go down with one leg, okay? In this version, we're only going to be training one side. So we're going to go up with 2 legs, balance on one side, then come back down on the other. And then again, we do 10 repetitions of this. When you go down, try to come down slowly. If you're coming down and just slamming onto your heel, it might mean that this exercise is too hard for you. You're allowed to hold on here for support. This is mainly about strength, but if you want to challenge yourself further, then you can just reduce the amount of support you're getting by putting 2 or 3 fingers there, okay? So for me, that's 10 repetitions. I still feel pretty good. That means I can do the next version, which is actually just one leg calf raise, just like the test that we did. And we're going to do 10 of these. So if you can do 10 of these, but you can't do that amount that's considered normal for your age and your gender, then all you actually have to do is just start doing more and more repetitions of this. So by now, hopefully you've found a version of the calf raise exercise that's challenging enough for you, that's actually gonna give you some progress with your walking. Let's quickly talk about how you actually program this throughout your week, how many times you have to do it, for how often. So the general recommendations is we want to do these exercises for 2 sets of 10 to start off with. And after 2 weeks, if you're feeling good, then you want to increase it to doing 3 sets of 10 and then increase it to 4 sets of 10. If you can do 4 sets of 10 without any issues, then you can progress to the next harder version of the exercise. You might just have to look back in the video to see what version of the exercise is next for you. When you move up a level, you might have to start again from 2 sets of 10. But if you can't do 2 sets of 10, then you can just do whatever you can for 2 sets. So it might just be 5 repetitions for 2 sets, if that's all that you can manage at the time. Altogether, we want to do this at least 2 or 3 times in the week with a rest day in between. So our calf muscles up here are one of those ones that can get really sore really quickly for a long time. That's why we don't want to overdo it. So if you wake up tomorrow or the day after and your calves are feeling a little bit sore, that's because we did some of these exercises and it's just in recovery mode. So you want to be doing these exercises for at least 3 months. And over that 3 months, you might progress 1 or 2 levels from where you are now. But if you do this consistently, you might start noticing some more differences in your walking. You might be walking faster, or you can walk for longer. If you've done all of this properly and still nothing's really changing, that might mean that the thing that's limiting your walking might not be related to your feet or your calf, and you might have to work on a different type of exercise. To skip that hassle of making a mistake, just see your physiotherapist or reach out to our team at Vuno Physiotherapy. Our details are below in the description. I do hope this video helps someone else out there, and if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Here are a few other related videos that can help you improve your walking.